Hello coders and welcome to another How to Code Well tutorial. Today we're going to be taking a look at a math function in PHP. This is finding the product of values of a given set of values. So we're using the array_product function for this. So before I start, I should say that to find the product of a series of values, this is the multiplication. So for example, if you want to find the product of 30, then you would discover which numbers can multiply together to make 30. So let's dive into the code and I'll explain a little bit more as we go. We will use the example that I used in the intro about 30. Let's find the product of 30. So what values multiply together to make 30? So let's create some data, and this is an array, and we're going to use 6 and we're going to use 6. So if we multiply 6 and 6 together, do we get 30? Let's discover that. So we're going to use the array_product function, and we're going to supply data to that function, and we're going to assign that product. We're going to create another variable up here, and we're going to call this target, and we're going to assign that to the integer of 30. We're going to type if product is equal to target, and we're going to echo out we have a product of, and then we're going to concatenate target. Else, we're going to type echo we haven't met the target. I'm going to change the single quotes with double quotes just because I would like to use a new line like so, and also the same below. And because we've got double quotes here, we can use a apostrophe and of course another new line. Okay, so I'm going to run this in a browser, and I'm going to use the PHP internal local server. I've set this up myself. There is a tutorial linked below if you want to configure your PHP local server. So let's go to the browser and take a look at this file. In the browser, we can see that we haven't met the target. So this was an if statement, and it was comparing the target, which was 30, against the product of our values. Let me go back to the code and explain this a little bit more as to what the product actually is. The product is the multiplication of these two numbers, 6 and 6. Let's just do a var dump of the product itself. Let's go back to the browser and refresh the page. We can see that the actual product is 36 and not 30. So let's go ahead and change this so it is 30. Of course, I've deliberately increased this by 1 just so it isn't a product. If we were to remove that and say it was 5, so 6 multiplied by 5 is 30. When we refresh the page, we can see that the output is 30. That is the product value. And we can see that this if statement is now in the next condition. So we have a product of 30. Of course, the array that we supply, the array of values, can have more than 2 values. So let's go ahead and try that out. What I'm going to do for completeness is to put this back to 6, and I'm going to just copy all of this code and paste it under here. We're going to change the target to be a 100, let's say, for instance, and we're going to have 9 and 10. Now, obviously, 6 times 6 times 9 times 10 is not 100. So let's go and run this again. When we refresh the page, we should get another output here. This is the product of all of those values multiplied together. And of course, we haven't met that target either. I'm going to go back to the file and tidy up the output. And also, we're going to change the product of the second example to be 3,240. So let's change that target to that value. Let's also put in a new breaking row here. And I've just realized that, of course, the BRs will work instead of the ends. So let's remove those, and this one down here, and of course this one here as well. Okay, let's get rid of these single quotes. So now we have two examples. The first one is going to be false because that's 6 times 6. The product there is greater than 30. It's 36 and not 30, and therefore we've fallen into this condition. With the next example, which is 3,240, that's 6 times 6 times 9 times 10. This condition is true. Product is equal to target, and therefore we fall into this statement. So let's save the file and refresh our browser. Here we can see the two examples. So the first one, we haven't met the target being 36. But in the second example, we have a product of 3,240, which is the target. And so we have that outcome. If you found this tutorial helpful, then do let me know. Give it a thumbs up, and also do subscribe to the How to Code Well YouTube channel so you can get other tutorials like this. If you've got any coding questions, then please do ask, but do so on our Discord server. Go to howtocodewell.net/Discord to join. Thank you ever so much for watching. Happy coding, everyone, and I'll see you again in the next tutorial. Thank you.